Alright, so this is part 2 of what if deku was betrayed and experimented on. Um, One of you said that you wanted a longer part, so I'm gonna make this like 30 minutes long, maybe 40, depending if I have the time. So, it starts with, we ended off with All Might walking into an alley and seeing a pile of, and then I cut it off. What he saw was a pile of dead bodies. And one of those dead bodies on the top of the pile was Izuku. You kind of already guessed that though. When he sees this, he just drops to his knees and starts crying. Sorry if you hear any background noise. Yeah. So he drops to his knees and starts crying, and he picks up Izuku's body and runs towards UA. And yeah, so he runs towards UA and with Izuku's body, and before he gets to let's just say that he runs into Nezu's room with Izuku's body, and at this point Izuku is training with Madara and Hashirama because it's already been 30 years. Let's just say it's near the end of his 60 year or yeah. Wait, no. I said that he trained 10 years, then it was 30, then it was 30 again. So he trained with Indra and Ashura for 30 years, so it's his 40th year. Then he trained 30 years with Hashirama, he's trained 26 years at the moment, I'll just say that, with Madara and Hashirama. And I should say he's a Rinnegan. Yeah, one eye, Rinne Sharingan, the other eye, Sharingan. And he learned all of Madara and Hashirama's jutsu except for the wood style, because he's not related. I know the Uchihas, but if you want me to give wood style to Izuku, then say. So yeah, at this point he's like millions of times stronger than All Might. So All Might brings Deku's dead body up to Principal Nezu's office and said, bursts open the door and says we're too late, but there's someone already in there. It will be, yeah, so let's just say that before the Stain arc, he met Nijiro Hado, and yes, there's going to be the ship. So when he bursts open the door, he sees Principal Nezu and Nijiro Hado, because she was called up and she was explained to that Izuku was innocent and not the UA traitor, and she was like, you dumbass, you're supposed to be the smartest on this planet. How did you get some stupid evidence that has like a million flaws and it wasn't true in the first place, and you just throw him in jail or just desert? No, what's the right word? got the right word, abandoned, and just abandon him. And Nezu was saying, I know, I made a terrible mistake. And then Nezu says, yeah, and you better fix it. As soon as she says, better fix it, All Might bursts in the door with Izuku's dead body. And when Nezu sees this, because let's just say she had a little crush on him, she just starts crying, and All Might sees this, and he also, like, tears up a tiny bit, and Nezu is thinking, oh dear, we really screwed up this time. So, they decide to, bury Izuku in the, let's just say, in the forest that's near UA, but it's, like, quite a bit away from it, but also, it's in between the wall and it's in between the barrier and UA, so, yeah, the building. So they bury him next to a tree, and after that he trains with Sasuke and Naruto. Should I give him Kurama or not? Well, it makes a big difference, so I have to decide right now. So I'll just explain Sasuke right now. So he gets his Sharingan ability, so he gets Madara's Susanoo, since he has 2 Sharingans, Madara's and Sasuke's, he gets the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. So he gets Sasuke's Sharingan ability, which is the Amaterasu, and the controlling of the... Well, actually, he doesn't have the Sharingan anymore. He has the Rinne Sharingan. He gets Sasuke's Rinne Sharingan powers of switching place of an object or a person. So, yeah. So let's just say, it's the 99th year and 364th day, and they're congratulating him. They, yeah, all 6 of them are congratulating him on, making it past, their training, because Madara was, like, really tough on him. Let's just say that he beat him, like, a bunch of times, almost to the brink of death, because although he, trained with Indra and Ashura, he still didn't, well, have the right, like, abilities to beat him, because they weren't beat Madara because they weren't mastered yet. So, after the time was about to come, so, like, 2 minutes before the new day, Hagoromo appears, and they all say, Stage of 6 Pass, what are you doing here? And he just says, I'm here to bring him back, and back to his world, because he's dead. He can't, wake up until I make it. So, and then they all just start thinking, well, if he didn't show up, then this would have all been a waste. So, I'm gonna say he's like Sasuke, Naruto, and he can beat Sasuke, Naruto, and I'm gonna say Ashura in a 1-on-3 fight. Yeah. So after Hagoromo brings him back to life, he realizes that he's underground. So he creates a he creates a earth style jutsu that gets rid of the earth, and he uses an earth style jutsu to get rid of the earth that's on top of him, and he gets out of the ground, and he stands up and he sees that. Sorry about that. I'll pause it. Sorry, it seems the sound's not going away. You're gonna have to deal with it. Not my problem. Well, kind of is, because dislikes in the description. Did I just say dislikes in the description? It dislikes and bad hate comments. Oh my god. Okay. Wow. Okay, anyway, what I was saying was he left the underground, and he was trying he went deep into the forest. His looks changed to this, of course. He has his Rinnegan in his Sharingan in his left eye, and his Sharingan in his right eye, just like Sasuke's and Madara's. So he trains for like another week, trying to learn water style, and he eventually gets a tiny bit of water out, because Sage of Six Paths gave him a scroll of all the water jutsu techniques. So he tries to learn how to do water style, and he manages to do a really weak water style jutsu, but he's like, I've done it after only a week or two. Let's say after only a week. So he's training on that, and Nijire is still quite sad, so she goes over to Izuku's grave, but then she realizes that dirt has been lifted, and she thinks that he's been grave robbed. So he runs around trying to look for him, and she sees someone who looks about her age but's quite tall, he looks quite tall, training with a sort of mask on. It's going to be Obito's, not Toby mask, but Fourth Great Ninja War mask, where he's wearing it, and he's learning how to use water style jutsu, and she's wondering what he's doing, so she hides behind a tree, completely forgetting about Izuku. Yes, I know, but she's thinking about it, but then she's like, what if he wasn't grave robbed? What if this is Izuku? But so she watches closely, and she sees this guy doing weird hand signs, and water comes out of his hands. Oh wait, no, water comes out from the ground around him and just floats up and then drops back down to the ground and goes back into the earth. So she's wondering what he's doing, and then he's like, damn it, I give up. So he creates he uses a style to he creates a style to create a bunch of walls around him, so that he can think inside of a weird, like, sort of like how in the Naruto vs Orochimaru fight, when he becomes a Four Tails, how Yamato makes a semi-dome. He creates a dome around himself, sort of like that one, but it's got fire style lights in there, like sort of like sticks, and he creates fire style. And jumps him into the wall, and he's thinking about ways to use his water style, and all he hears is Nijire coming up and beating on the wall, trying to dig him out. And it's like, hey, are you okay? Are you okay in there? And he realizes this, so he creates a style jutsu to go he uses a style jutsu to go under the ground and behind Nijiri, and just pops up behind her and says, yeah, I'm fine. And she turns around shocked and like, I thought you got like suffocated or squashed in there. And he says, no, it's just a thinking dome. She asks, who are you? And Izuku says, I can't say. Then she says, you've got quite a strong quirk, you might want to come to UA. And why are you even in this area? You're not even UA, you're not allowed in here. And he says, that's quite a long story, and I can't tell you, and I can't tell you if I want to go back or not, because he doesn't feel like going back, but he might. So he's wondering what's happened to what they think happened to what they think about Izuku. So he asked Nijiri, what do you think about me? Or not me, what do you think about Izuku? And she says, how do you know Izuku? And then he says, Deku says, personal friend. And she says, well, people thought that he was the UA trader, and he was the one who stole files and gave them to the League of Villains, but I didn't believe that. But Nizu and All Might did, and I can't believe that stupid rat who's supposed to be the smartest thing on this planet thought that he was a traitor. So yeah, Deku hears this, and it's like, I'll tell you a secret, but only in a week's time, when I get this stupid thing down. So she's like, what stupid thing? And then he says, water style. And she's wondering what water style is, and so, but she doesn't press it any further. So she's like, okay, well, will you come back will you come back to UA if you at the end of the week, because he said that he's not going back there, and she's wondering if he was a student. So she asked if he's going back to UA in a week's time. He says, I'll think about it, but it's probably gonna be a no. So after that week, Nijiri's been trying to get him back into UA, like, hey, can you get this kid into UA? What's his name? Don't know yet. He said that he'd reveal it to me at the end of the week. And they're like, okay, what's his quirk? And then she says, I don't know, it looks like he has multiple. And as soon as she says this, almost like he might almost thinking in his head that he might be working with All For One. Yeah, kind of dumb, I know. So after the week of training, he says to Nijiri in a location that no one can hear, and he says, my name is Izuku Midoriya. And her jaw just drops, and like, no, he's dead. He can't, you can't be him. He's not alive anymore. And then Deku says, I was dead. And she was like, how'd you come back to life? And Izuku just says, friends, and maybe a literal god. And she's just wondering, what do you, what does he mean about literal friends, or what literal god? So, she goes to UA that day and says, since she's given a description of him, like, white hair, weird mask, and, like, Hmm. Yeah, white hair and a weird mask and one purple eye and one green eye, and because he's kept his green eye when his shotting gun's not activated, so they're wondering, green eye, what is it? What does she mean by green eye? And then, so after the week is out, Nejire runs to Nezu's office and says that the person who she was talking about was Izuku Midoriya, and he was the one in the mask with white hair, and they're all like, he's dead, he can't be alive, and she said that she thought that too, but then she said that he was dead, and then he came back to life by some friends and a literal god, and they're wondering if is someone with a resurrection quirk, or just, yeah, someone with a resurrection quirk, because if they have it, then they need them as well as Izuku, because they feel bad about what happened. So one day, let's just say 3 days passed, and all the OA teachers go to Izuku's grave, and they see that it's been dug up, and like a wall next to it. So they're like, or they're wondering, what happened, and if it was that god that he was talking about, or his friends that made that wall. And they walk up to a patch of trees, and they see someone training, and they see that it matches the description of what Nijiro was saying, and they go up to him, because they do it without Nijiro knowing, because they don't want her interfering and telling them not to go up to him. And as soon as they get close, Izuku senses them, and without even seeing them, since all of them hide behind a tree, without seeing them, with his back to them, he just says, "Come out," and they're like confused, and they start walking out, and Deku says, "Why are you here?" And All Might says, "Izuku, you're young Midoriya," and Deku just says, "Don't call me that, you don't call me that, you old man." And he's really confused, because a kid who admired him called him an old man, and told him not to call him young Midoriya, because he's generally confused, because he's that dumb, that why he's being called old man. So he just walks up to him and says, "Listen, Izuku, I'm sorry about what happened." And then he just says, "You're sorry that you got me killed?" And All Might just takes a step back and says, "Yeah, about that." And then, how did you come back to life? And Izuku says, "Friends and a god," like he said to Ninjari. All Might's wondering who this god is, so he asks, "Who is this supposed god?" And Izuku just says, "Not supposed, literally, he is a god. He is..." And then he says, or then he thinks that he shouldn't give them the answers to how he came back to life, so he just stops talking and says, "Never mind. It's not relevant." Then all of them, or then Nezu just says, "Young Izuku, we'd like you to come back to UA," and sorry about that background noise. I don't know what it is. It's probably a dryer or something. So he answers Nizu and says, "No, I'm not going back." And Nizu's saying, "Please, we'd like you to come back, because we feel horrible about what we've done." Izuku, he's thinking about it, and he says, 1 month from now. So they're thinking 1 month from now, and questioning him, and he says, "Yeah, I'm coming back in a month." He wants to see what it's like, but he also wants to adapt to his body since he's been gone for 100 years. Because let's just say that he didn't feel his body when he was dead. Yeah. So about a couple of days pass, and Izuku leaves the UA forest. Of course, the barrier thinks that he's trying to get in when really he's trying to get out, because he doesn't have his ID badge on him, because let's just say that after he woke up, he found it sort of corroded because of all the acids from the experimentation. He jumps over the UA barrier and into the streets, and he body flickers a bunch of times to get really far away from the school, and he ends up on a building, and he buys a cloak, and he puts it on, this one. So he buys a cloak, puts it on, and he, well, becomes a vigilante. So he's stopping crime, and no one can see his face, and everyone's confused. Oh yeah, by the way, I don't own any of these pictures. I forgot to say that in my last two parts of, or last two, videos that I did. So this is what he wears, and everyone's wondering who's stopping all these villains. And after they get taken into custody, they all say it was some cloaked figure. And Nezu, since he's kind of smart, but not that smart because of what happened with Izuku, he kind of puts it together and thinks that the strange person appeared after Izuku left the forest. It might be him. So, yeah. He's just doing vigilante work, and we cut back to 1A, and they still think that he's a villain because they haven't gotten the news, but the other four know. Yeah, Tsukushima, Momo and Todoroki, Momo and Bakugo know that Izuku was innocent because they were told by Nezu that he's been cleared, but they don't want anyone else to know yet until he comes back to UA. So they know that Izuku's innocent, and they really want to hit all the students from 1A, like really, really hard in the top of the head. Aizawa knows, so they don't get a new student yet, because they know that Izuku's coming back to UA. If he doesn't want to be in the hero course, or if he doesn't want to be in 1A, he just get someone transferred from the place that with the person with the top scores in the place that he's going to. I'm probably going to make him into 1A or 1B. If you want me to have him in any other classroom, just say so. I'm kidding. He's about 2 weeks have passed, and more people are saying that this cloaked figure has a lot of quirks, and they're wondering if it is Izuku, because he's quirkless now, because his One for All was taken from him by All Might again. Let's just say he gave it to Mirio, and he doesn't want to take it back from Mirio because he feels bad just giving him a quirk and then going to take it off like he did to Izuku. So he just leaves it with Mirio, and he's quite angry at himself because if he held on to it for like a week longer, then he would have given it to Izuku again. So, and he's confused, they're all confused, like, why would he come back to Yue if he doesn't have a quirk anymore? And so, they get reports about this cloaked figure has a fire quirk, an earth quirk, water quirk, wind quirk, and lightning quirk, and he walks on buildings, he teleports sort of far away. A bunch of stuff like that, and they're all confused because isn't a person supposed to have one or two quirks depending on their parents? And they're thinking, they're really confused about this. So they're really confused about this. So eventually the 1 month period is up. Let's just say the UA Sports Festival. Wait, no, it's staying up. Let's just say it's about to be the area arc, the overhaul arc. Actually, I think that's what it's called. Yeah. So it's about to be the overhaul arc, and they get the original, or they get the 4 who believed him to be in, to be a part of the be a part of the raid. And when Deku comes back, they ask him if he wants to be, when Deku comes back, they ask him if he wants to be in 1A or 1B, and Izuku says, that he'd like to be in 1A, because he's got people who actually believe him in there, but most of them don't. So he waits outside of the 1A classroom, and Aizawa walks in. He believed Izuku was innocent the whole time, and he also sort of cried when he found out that he was dead. So he walks into the classroom and says, everyone shut up, I've got an announcement to make. And they all look and listen, and then he says Izuku Midoriya was innocent, and they're like, what? No, that villain isn't innocent. And all the Bakugo Suyu, Kirishima and Momo just shout as loud as they can, yes, he is, dumbasses, we got evidence. So, they just like stop talking and listen. And then Aizawa says Izuku Midoriya had died and then came back to life mysteriously about 2 weeks later. And they were like, what? How does that work? And Aizawa says, well, I don't really care. At least he's back. So since he's alive, he's coming back into 1A. So then they're like, what? No, he's. Some of them still think he's the villain, like Ida. Let's just say Hochako Uraka. Benetta, because he doesn't like how popular with the girls he is. And yeah, people like them, like Toru Higakure, and let's just say everyone else, like Mina, Shoji, Koji, Koda, they now believe that he's innocent, and they feel really bad about what happened. So after like 2 minutes of talking amongst themselves, as I was like, shut up. And as soon as you say shut up, Izuku just opens the door, walks in, and sits in his seat. He asked if he could still wear his mask, and they said, sure, if that's the only thing that you need, just to join UA, then sure. So he just sits down, and they're wondering who this person is, and let's just say he busted through the door like a normal person. I'm kidding. And Izai just says, Zuku, you could have broken the door, right? And everyone's just staring at him and like thinking in their head, Zuku? This can't be a Zuku. He had green hair and 2 green eyes, not a purple one. And they're wondering if this purple eye is his quirk, or if it's just mutation of some sort. So they're confused, and as he's walking, and he's as he's waiting while sitting down, Bakugo is just saying, I need you to be back, you damn nerd. And Izuku just says, I see you found the evidence. I see you were the one who found the evidence of me being innocent. And yeah, we did, but it was kind of hard trying to stop ourselves from hitting everyone in 1A when after that 1 month period. And they're wondering, 1 month period, what do you mean? And Izuku just says, I was alive for 1 month, and I was going to come back to UA, but I didn't want to. So I was getting used to my body again since I was gone for 100 years. And I'm like, you mean you were gone for 100 years? It was only a month and a half. And Izuku doesn't really care. He just says that he was gone for a month before he wanted to come back to UA. So they understand. And after class is over, Izuku walks out into a field, and sort of field. He's going to train with his water style again, since he still doesn't have full control over it. And as he was about to start training, Hochako and Ida pull up with with Toru and Manila. I think that's it. Yeah, those 4, they pull up, and Ida's just like, reciprocal burst, and runs as fast as he can, and about to kick Izuku, because they still think that he's a villain. So he just steps out of the way, and Ida's confused because he's faster than him, and he just Izuku just grabs his face and with his hand, and just squeezes and just smashes his head into the ground. And it creates a mini crater. And then Izuku's like, I'm trying to train here. If you don't want that to happen to all of you, then you leave. And they're like, okay. And they grab Ida and walk away, because Ochako uses zero gravity quirk on him, and they just walk away. And Izuku starts training his water style, and he's almost as proficient as all his other styles. And they're thinking that he unlocked the water quirk, and they're confused. And then he after he's finished, he puts fire under the bottom of his feet and shoots off, and they're confused. I'm like, he has a fire quirk as well? So they're all confused. And Izuku, as soon as he gets high enough, he body flickers onto the roof and does the training that Todoroki did, where he launched the ice and fire in the 3rd season. I think it was the 3rd season, or it was the 4th season, one of the two. So he uses water and fire and electricity, and he uses the water and fire to make steam, and then electricity to make to have the electricity electrocute the steam or the condensation, and it creates like an electric cloud, and he was like, cool, made a sort of new jutsu. So he's thinking that he could use this to make a new jutsu, and he then remembers Sasuke talking about one of his jutsus that created a lightning dragon. I think it was Kidding, something like that. And so he's thinking, what if he could do that as well? So he's thinking in his head ways of doing it, because and then he realizes that he's got the scroll from Hagoromo, and then he looks through it even more. He gets past most of the water jutsu, and he flips onto a page, and he realizes that it's got all the jutsu in it. So like Flying Thunder God technique, and all those techniques. And he sees one that Sasuke made up, was called Kidding, and he's thinking what he looks at it and he's like, what if I could do this, but instead of with lightning, I can do it with something else. But then he's like, nah, I'm just gonna do it with lightning. So he starts making a lightning or a Kidding, and it works. The clouds start forming above him, and when he strikes it down, it hits someone, and I am going to leave it off here. Yep. Good luck. Like, subscribe, and comment down below.